welcome to this week's Rebels Report. I'm sitting here with Johan Williams, coach of Herlev Rebels, and we're going to start talking with you about the relegation games, or as Johan also called them, the up and down games. Give us a brief overview. What was happening there?
What happens basically, the bottom 4 seed teams in the National League compete in a tournament to see who's going to move down or stay up in the National League for next season. And these games will decide or help decide who is going to basically stay up or down.
All right, so we had like the 89ers winning over Swans last weekend, and we had the Hurricanes winning over Stallions.
Right.
So basically, Swans and Stallions are moving down.
Swans and Stallions, the way I understand it, there's only one team that's moving down, but I could be wrong with that. But what will happen next is those two will compete to see who's at the final seed, or they'll have a playoff with the A division or the first division 2 teams, and the winners of those games will decide who stays up and who stays down. But the 89ers and the Hurricanes stay in the National League for next year, and that's
so that is for sure.
That's for sure. That's already done.
So according to you, are the favorites for the Hurricanes or for the Stallions?
I think it's a question that, the Swans and the Steins. I think it's a question. It's a question of who really wants it right now. I mean, it's a long season and they're kind of wearing out a little bit, and I think that they're kind of tired. So if they can rally their troops and get things going, I think they'll be fine. And you'll see both those teams in the National League next year. If they have some issues, then one of them's probably going to go down, and it's kind of a shame. But then there'll be a new team in the league, and they'll have to experience something, and it'll be an interesting experience for them. And for the 89ers, I'm glad for them. They struggled this year with a lot of issues, and they made it. And for the Hurricanes, it's not too surprising that they were able to stay up there because they were just one win away from being in the playoffs. So, Bjorn Bach, their running back, must have been able to get healthy enough to play for the final game or this past game, because they won with such a point margin, 45-0. That's a pretty good margin. So they definitely were firing all cylinders in that day. So it's good to see them both up there.
Yeah, I totally agree. And according to me, both the Swans and the Stallions would deserve to move on and be there, part of the National League next year again. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen, and as well as I was really excited to see what was going on during the wildcard games.
Yeah.
We had the Gold Diggers versus the Demons. The match that was thanks to the Hurricanes.
Yeah, thanks to the Hurricanes. Yeah.
Thanks to the Hurricanes that the Demons went on. And they did really well, actually.
Yeah, they did much better than I would have thought that was going to happen in that game.
Yeah, it's not to offend the Gold Diggers at all, but I think it's just they were kind of surprised. I think they didn't expect them being
coming out
that
playing.
Much on.
Yeah, no, I think that anybody going into that game would have thought that probably would have been a lopsided score, a lopsided game. The Demons came out to show that they belong in the wild card. They belong in the playoffs. They did a great job. That triple option's a pain to handle, and if you're not really prepared for it, or if you make a mistake, they're going to make some plays. And surely that's what they did. Their running back Lars Husting had a really nice day and had some success. They had a trick play that was like a reverse pass for a touchdown that kept them in the game and kind of kept the Diggers on their heels. And sometimes when you're considered really a big favorite team, sometimes you kind of look beyond that and you look for the next thing, and that could have happened with the Gold Diggers. I mean, they're a really talented team, and they've got a lot of great players, so they can kind of turn it up when they need to, and do what they need to do to win games. So, I think it was a combination of both things, and it was hats off to the Diggers and hats off to the Demons playing such a good game.
Definitely, and that is also what I would say. The score ended up being 34-21 for the Gold Diggers, but in the end, as Kim Evie also said, they did win somehow. They didn't win the game itself, but they really won a lot for the team itself. So congrats on that. The other game going on was Herlev Rebels versus Tigers, and actually it's been a really exciting game. To one point, I think it was the third quarter. It was 21-23.
23-21, yeah.
For Herlev Rebels, and then all of a sudden it
went
sort of yeah.
Well, they going into the half up 20-7. For us that was great, we were having momentum going on our side. In the third quarter, we had a couple fumbles that turned into scores for them, and the momentum had definitely shifted to their favor. And we were able to get the lead again with a field goal by Phillip, to make it 23-21, like you said. And then all of a sudden, Morton, our quarterback, gets knocked out of the game, and that kind of put a damper on everything. And like I said before, the momentum was in their favor already, and that kind of just was a domino effect. And hats off to them, and playing really, never quitting and keep playing, because that's what you need to do to win in the playoffs. And they didn't take a play off, and they went from there. And we just ran out of gas. So it's one of those things. And the games that we've played them this year have been pretty close the entire time. One has been in front, and then the other one has come back, or they've been just kind of slugfest. So this went down to the wire, or went down to the end, just like all the other games have this year with them. And that's no big surprise.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So.
About the Mermaid Bowl, or the semifinals actually coming
Sure.
up now, because that is the first part, right?
Sure.
We have the 4 best teams from this season in the semifinals. Can you at all,
Besides wanting to be there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all deserve it. There's no
Sure,
doubt about
sure,
it. They're all
sure.
did their part to be there. So, any favorites?
Favorites going in? Yeah, you gotta say the Towers are probably the favorites. Overall, they've gone through the season just kind of steamrolling everybody. They've been the most complete team, all season. JR has with Casper the running back, and Yannick Landine at fullback. They really have things going over there, and they have other guys that are really stepping up as the receiving core, and their offensive line is big and efficient. So they're doing what they need to do to win, and they're winning big.
And it's Taos Tigers facing each other in the semifinal, right? And then it's
Taos
Goldbackers
Tigers.
Razorbacks.
That's right. So we'll definitely have a different Mermaid final than we've had the last few years. So that's probably a nice change for a lot of people. So that should be interesting. The Tigers are probably playing an uphill battle a little bit. They have to work really hard to beat the Towers. I wouldn't say that they have to play a perfect game, but they have to play a great game. They have to execute and not make mistakes, and not get down like they didn't get down against us. Just kept slugging away and kept going, and they're going to have to be able to deal with that if they go down early in the game. And if they're up, just keep moving. Just keep going. Don't make the same mistake that we kind of petered out. That's the other thing. On the other side, with the Razorbacks and the Gold Diggers, that's a
They have some kind of history, right?
They've got a great history about
Yeah.
playing each other in the finals, but not so much of a history in the semifinals. But this actually might become a really good game for both of them. The Razorbacks lost their quarterback. He had left early, so Kenny Sewell and Thomas Linderman have been playing the quarterback position predominantly since that has happened, and that changes things for them a little bit. But also the fact that one of them will have the right to play in the Mermaid Bowl and not against each other, they're going to play hard for this game. It's going to be a tough game. And, Jeffrey Lewis is going to be getting after it, and, Soren Bakbu and Ernest Bohansen and, all those guys on the Diggers are going to go after it too. So it should be kind of interesting. Zach Shaw's after his earlier season injuries, he's fine. He seems to be playing really efficient and well. So it should be a very interesting game.
And we couldn't agree more. I think it's going to be like huge having the Razorbacks and Gold Diggers in the semifinals. Only one of them continuing in the final. Who's it going to be? Who are they going to play against? No matter who of the two are winning. Is it the Towers? Is it the Tigers? It's really, really exciting, guys. So you stay tuned, and we see each other next week with more information about what is going on and how is it going to happen.